Start off things to kind of break down these two movies. What I've done is I've rearranged them into the overall plot and the story, the characters in the movies, and of course their actors or actresses that are playing those characters. The representation to the comics, whether or not they stick to the story, whether they go off in a complete different tangent, so on and so forth. And then of course, my favorite part, were there any positives to any of these films? Batman vs Superman or Suicide Squad. There was maybe one or two for each movie, but the majority of it was no. They were horrific movies. So let's get started. First and foremost, I want to talk a little bit about Suicide Squad's soundtrack. I've asked some people and I've gotten some reviews saying it was a great soundtrack, and I have to agree to disagree. Yes, there were some phenomenal songs in Suicide Squad. It's one of those where the trailer, I think, was what won people over. They had so much hype building up to Suicide Squad that really it was the music that was getting you pumped. But again, throughout the entire movie of Suicide Squad, it was as if somebody had set their iTunes playlist to shuffle. There are scenes where there's songs that are playing and a 10-year-old chose that song, where another scene you'll have, again, a classic, but doesn't really tie into what that scene is. So again, good soundtrack, but not great in terms of where it was placed in the overall movie. That's just, I wanted to get that across. Another thing I want to make very, very clear is I am a huge DC fan. I am not biased to Marvel, but of course when I lay out that these two movies are absolutely horrific, it's because it's disrespectful to the fans, it's disrespectful to the comics, it's disrespectful to the filmmakers who are making these movies. You'll see where I'm going at, because of course when anybody has a negative review or has an opinion about something, it's always good to back it up with facts. One thing, of course, again, before I get going fully into the Batman vs Superman review, is you see online a lot about these, Suicide Squad broke the August record for theater tickets, or Batman vs Superman broke records for Blu-ray release, so on and so forth. It's very difficult for me to care about such things, especially when a movie ticket nowadays, just to see it in 3D, costs $24. As far as the movies are concerned, when we hear about they're breaking records, they're breaking the August record, they're breaking this record, it only comes down to money. And speaking from the nerd perspective, from the fanboy perspective, we don't base these movies, their success, off of the money that they make. We base their success off of their story that's being told through today's movie world. So I'm trying to hopefully get people to think differently, that though you see big numbers on opening nights, the reason why these movies are getting such negative reviews is because they're going away from what we know, what these characters are, what these heroes are, what these villains are. It makes me mad. I mean, I'm not gonna obviously write an essay about it, but in order for me to really see these movies succeed, you have to get me more than just visuals, and you have to get me more than just acting and portraying the characters. You have to get me inside that world. And again, I'm not biased towards Marvel versus DC, but Marvel has perfected that. They bring you into that world and they make you love these films. DC, I'm going to probably come back to this, is they are just failing across the board. I personally thought Suicide Squad was going to be that movie to finally ignite DC into the universe, as far as the DC universe. And it failed miserably. But I'll tap into that in just a moment because let's get to it. Okay, so plot and story review from Batman vs Superman. Where do I begin? It was shit. This movie is absolute shit. Going off the story, personally I think this movie should have been broken down into 3 trilogies. First trilogy, and this goes directly to Warner Brothers and DC, you should have finished Superman's trilogy. Man of Steel was a good movie. That's right.
You will give the people of Earth an ideal to strive towards. They will race behind you. They will stumble. They will fall. But in time, they will join you in the sun, Cal. In time, you will help them accomplish wonders.
That's right. You've heard it from me many times. Man of Steel was a good film. It was the first good DC film in over 30 years. So why did you not finish that trilogy? So that we could solidify the Superman story. Then of course you dip into the second trilogy. Movie number 1, you introduce the Batman. You don't go heavily into Batman, but of course you start building up to what will ultimately become the Justice League. The second movie in that second trilogy will be Batman vs Superman, so that way you can tap into the comics, get that story out there that in order for the Justice League to happen, they all hated each other at first, and then everybody's on the same page. I'm not going to tap into one of the most epic fail scenes of all time in Batman vs Superman, which we all know to be just as Batman is about to kill Superman. Superman simply shouts out, "Martha." They both find out that their mother's names are Martha, and they become best friends.
You were never a god. You were never even a man. You're letting him kill Martha. What does that mean? Why did you say that name? Find him! Save Martha! Why did you say that name? Martha, why did you say that name?
Stop! Please, stop!
Why did you say that name?
It's his mother's name! It's his mother's name.
It's quite possibly the most horrific thing I've ever seen in my entire life. But again, we already know that. I'm not going to dive too deep into that. I'm going to continue on because, of course, that third trilogy, which I'm mentioning, would have been the trilogy based off of Justice League. It would have introduced us to the Justice League, and then of course on the 9th film, because again 3 trilogies, on the 9th film you would have had the Justice League movie, where again in Batman vs Superman we're introduced to the Justice League characters in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. It's disrespectful. It's just horrible. I can't even, there really aren't too many words to describe how bad that is and why you continue to fail. Because, again, if you look at the DC world, they're going backwards from what Marvel did. Marvel, we had Iron Man trilogy. We're gonna have a Thor trilogy. We've now had a Captain America trilogy. In between those, we've had one-offs like Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man. And then we've had the Avengers, we've had the Avengers 2, and then of course we're going to have a new Avengers after that. The way DC's doing it, here's the Justice League, you have no idea about these characters, but here's the movie. If you haven't followed the comics, if you haven't followed the nerd world that's related to these characters, you're going to not like these movies because you just don't know who the hell these people are. And that's again why you need to expand on these characters in the DC universe. The movie was rushed. It was depressing. It was misguided and full of so many holes. And what I mean by that is they brought an extended version out, which I watched. So you have a 3-hour movie and now it's like a 3.5-hour movie. I would give it a 0.5 out of 10, the original, and then I'll give it a 1 out of 10 for the extended version. Yes, the extended version does fill in some of those loops, some of those holes, but it doesn't justify how horrific this movie was. It's, again, depressing. I felt like I needed therapy watching this film. I genuinely felt sad inside because it is so just unbelievably negative. It's crazy. So that would leave us, of course, onto the characters. And again, I'm not going to tap into everybody, but just some that kind of stuck out and I want to talk about. Batfleck. Batfleck should never have been a part of this movie. Did we not learn anything from Daredevil?
They're coming for you.
For me? Did you hear? The word's out on the Kingpin. They're coming for you. I can hear the police radios from here.
No. I swear I'll tell them who you are.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell them. Tell the guys at Rikers all about how you got beat by a blind man. Be like blood in the water.
Oh, don't worry about that. Because I'll get out.
Yeah, I know. And I'll be waiting. Justice is served.
Is he a good actor? Yes, I think he's a great actor. Is he a great director? Absolutely. He does not need to be in a superhero movie. You tried it once, you failed. Ryan Reynolds was lucky. For those of you that have seen The Green Lantern, again, quite possibly the worst comic book film of all time, Ryan Reynolds was saved when he made Deadpool.
Maximum effort.
Rich Corinthian leather.
I'm looking for Francis. Have you seen this man?
Cooler weather.
Ow! Yankee, Yankee! This, but don't swallow.
And I know this is kind of coincidence, DC, Marvel, DC, Marvel. When you jump over to Marvel, you have success. When you're on DC, you have failure. So that's kind of my beef with Batfleck. You know, he was a Batman that was like a bipolar schizophrenic, and he was on too many steroids. The dude was ripped, and I know Batman is supposed to be ripped, but come on, you know, like let's ease off the roids for just a little bit, you know. Let's see here. Oh, this is another one of the points too, and I could be wrong. I fully will admit it if I am, but in Batman vs Superman, he's portrayed as a psychotic, murdering vigilante. Batman doesn't kill people. I mean, of course, maybe he did in some of the comics, but the basis of Batman is to not kill people. If you've seen the Christopher Nolan trilogy, he emphasizes not killing anybody because that's just who he is. He can't kill people. He will obviously bring justice to those that need it, but he won't kill anybody. In Batman vs Superman, killing people is just like taking out the trash. Horrifically represented to the Batman that we all know and love. Okay, yeah, tapped into a little bit with the Superman, Henry Cavill. You know, take some Xanax. You know, he's very sad in this film. Superman is like, I don't know if these people love me, blah, 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 blah. Sorry to break it to you, whether it's a fictional world, whether it's a real world, humans suck. I'm assuming there are thousands of other habitable planets out there that would love Superman to come and help them and be a part of their society. Humanity, just forget it, dude. Just move on. Don't worry about it. And then of course there is Lex Luthor. I personally think that Heath Ledger's parents should sue Warner Brothers for essentially ripping off his Joker character to portray it as Lex Luthor in Batman vs Superman. One of my favorite quotes, reading some of the reviews and some of the critics when Batman vs Superman first came out, was the idea behind a movie is to make you hate the villain, not hate the casting director, and that is exactly what Batman vs Superman did with Lex Luthor. How are you going to take somebody, again, from the comics that is not only beefier as far as physical body, but turn him into this 95-pound soaking wet psychopath? It just doesn't work. You really forgot everything that was what Lex Luthor is in the comics. So again, major fail on that. And of course, if you've seen the movie, the dude needs to wipe his mouth and his nose because so much fluid is coming out. It's almost disgusting, and you're focusing way too much attention because of the snot bubbles that are coming out. It's absolutely disgusting. So we're gonna wrap it up real quick with the Batman vs Superman, because there is one positive in Batman vs Superman, and we all know it. Hopefully we know it if you've seen it. To be Wonder Woman.
Why did you bring him back to the city?
The port is abandoned. There's a weapon here that can kill it.
Did you find the spear?
I've been a little busy.
This creature, seems to feed on energy.
This thing is from another world. My world.
I've killed things from other worlds before.
Is she with you?
I thought she was with you.
Yes, in both films, Suicide Squad and Batman vs Superman, their only savior are their female leads. Wonder Woman was the only time in Batman vs Superman, 2.5 hours later, where I finally sat up in my seat and went, wow, here we go. This is something cool. This is something awesome. They portrayed her, I think her name is Gal Gadot. I could be saying that horrifically wrong, I apologize. They portrayed her perfectly from a comic book perspective. Her costume was perfect from the comic perspective. Her story, I know we only got a few brief moments with Wonder Woman in Batman vs Superman. Yes, she's going to have her own solo film later on, which Comic-Con showed the trailer, and it looks phenomenal. In this film, Batman vs Superman, it was the only thing that got it. It was the only thing that brought Batman vs Superman from literally the dead, even though it was only 5 to 10 minutes. So if you haven't seen the movie, don't worry about it. Just look on YouTube or something to find the Wonder Woman aspect, because she literally saves the day and she acts better, she portrays her character better, she is everything that is better about this film. I'm hoping that the Justice League film taps into that as well, but again, we'll see when she has her solo debut next year. I forget what time it is or what time of year her movie's coming out, so we'll look forward to that. Alright, switching gears.